This is a 1998 Toyota Aristo from Japan, and we have to flip it. The engine's filthy, has some mechanical problems. It's been sitting at various ports for months. Keep watching to find out if we can do it or not. I'll take you through the whole process, how I recondition this, how we put it all back together, and how we make money selling it. So I import cars from Japan. This is my third Aristo twin turbo. Second Vertex. This isn't a Vertex, but I have another one actually in a future video. So this one I bought back in March, so it's about 4 months ago. This one took a little bit longer because of the tariffs and just port availability and things of that nature. So what I do, I try to offer the most, not cheapest technically, but the most affordable JDM cars in America. So this is going to be done where we are going to totally clean it up, make it all ready for sale, and it's going to be $10,000 or less, and that includes U.S. title and just basically good to go. Ones that I sell, typically, we're looking at 30 days or less on the market. But again, this is basically the condition straight from the port, so everything is filthy on here. So a little bit of damage here, which isn't uncommon. I don't know if, I think this is, okay, well that was a parking little pole that was stuck on there. It's just really dirty is what it is. A little bit of scuffing here, but again, they took care of it. They put some touch-up paint on it just to make it look a little bit better. It's not perfect, but it's a solid baseline car for whatever you want to do, whether that's build it up or just drive it as is. The carpet, the seats, all this we will do a deep clean on. I'll show you all that. I've got a new wheel from a GS 300. This one's a little bit beat up. Hopefully it looks the same. I mean, it's got the same up and down buttons on it. But again, under 200,000 kilometers. This one's 120 something thousand, and it drives super smooth. It's drives straight. It's got relatively decent tires on there. 9 or 10 grand, you can't go wrong. And it's a bone stock 2JZ twin turbo. We'll clean this whole thing up, make it look brand new. And that's what we provide. So things like this, first thing I see is like, why is there sealant on the cover, plastic cover here? So we'll have to figure that out. It looks like there may be a little bit of an oil leak down there. I'm not sure. Whether that's something we take care of or not, that's going to be factored into the price. Obviously, if people want to pay a little bit more, we can do more. Looks like the timing belt was done in 2010. Probably 113, 110K, somewhere in there. So it's almost due for a new one. But again, the exhaust is complete. There's no leaks. There's no corrosion, no rust. This is what people want. This is what I want. And I buy stuff that I want and then I could drive and I would modify. So that's kind of the theory behind everything. Let's take a quick look here. Yeah, so like the chassis, the body is pretty clean. Like you try finding this on a US spec GS or something, and this whole thing is going to be rusted. But this is a very, very clean vehicle, and that's just a selling point of it. It's a little dirty, dusty under there, but for the most part, it's debadged, so you just got the Toyota logo, nothing else. We'll probably pull off the tint here, at least on the back windows. Maybe leave it, who knows, I don't know. And let's see here, let's take a look back. Yeah, door panels, all in good condition. Rear seats, all in good condition. Now the thing I like about these is that typically you can link your, well, maybe not this one. This has just got AM, FM, TV, and CD. So this is kind of old. Doesn't look like it has Bluetooth. Overall, I mean, it's a solid car for the money. So let's get right into it. Let's clean the interior first, and then knock out this exterior, clean the engine bay, and go from there. Here's our interior plan of attack. We've got Chemical Guys Total Interior Cleaner and Protectant. So this is going to get sprayed over everything in there. The door panels, the dashboard, anything that has a hard surface is going to get this. Then we have 2 steps for the carpet. Step 1 is going to be our double black Terminator, enzyme, spot and stain. A lot of people highly recommend this for like any kind of staining, just to help break up the dirt first and then move to step 2, the carpet bomber. This is not diluted, so it's just straight, and we got it in our spray bottle here. This is diluted 5 or 8 to 1 in another spray bottle here. So we're gonna spray everything out with air, vacuum, get all the, bits out of there like that. All this dirt. We're not gonna be spraying any type of liquid into that first. We're gonna do a nice deep vacuum. Once that's done, then we're gonna hit it with the sprays. Right here you can see a stain over here. And then here's that Chemical Brothers stuff. We'll spray on this hard stuff and get some of this off. Some drink staining there. And then we'll hit it with the extractor, hot water extractor, and then make this thing look brand new. So here, real simple. Just use a vacuum. I really need to get like a smaller one, but this does the job for now. We're just getting the larger debris out to make way for the extractor. Really nothing too complicated about it. Right now I'm just using a house vacuum, but I'll get a smaller one at some point. One of those rigid ones from Home Depot, I guess, work really well. And then after we do all this, I've already vacuumed the carpets. I'm probably gonna pressure wash the carpets after spraying them, just because they're so thick, and I think we can get a lot more dirt out without having to rely completely on the extractor. I think that might work a little bit better. We're gonna hit the carpet with this brush and a drill to get, agitate the fibers even more, get some more debris to the surface, vacuum again. All right, so we got everything vacuumed out. Really not that dirty, not a lot of spills, nothing like that. Now we're gonna hit the car with the Total Interior Cleaner. I'm just gonna go over all the hard surfaces here, and then let this kind of work in. And we can even do the door frames. That wouldn't hurt. And then definitely, all this hard plastic here, back of the seats, those are hard. I don't think it's gonna do anything negative to the fabric, so it's just not made for carpet cleaning, obviously. This is not me, but we will get that out with the extractor. Center console, get that all cleaned up. And then back of the seat here, this is all old stubborn dirt from 25 years of car driving. Get these vents on the bottom, break up that dirt down there, and move around to the other side. You can see how dirty this is just by going like that. So that first P&S, the first stage, actually has an enzyme in it, so that's supposed to break up any kind of smells, odors that you have in the car. So that should really get this thing smelling like new. Pretty sure we already did that one. And then over here, just get this all in here too. Don't forget inside your pouch. Who knows what's in there. And then the dashboard here. Amazon has these two for like $25. They couldn't get me my P&S interior cleaner in time. That was like a next week delivery for some reason. This section here is kind of dirty. I'll probably do something better for that initially, not just rely on this cleaner, and then the separator, we'll clean that separately. But all this stuff, all this electronics is all safe, so you can spray all of this. It's not going to do anything negative to it. And we'll really get in there. Spray it all down. Don't forget the bottoms of your door here. We've already used almost half a bottle of this, so it's kind of pricey. I mean, 12 bucks a bottle or so. That's why I wanted my P&S bulk stuff, but they just didn't have it. All right, I think that's good for now for round number 1. If we need more, again, we'll hit it again later, but we're gonna let that soak in a little bit and then just wipe it down with a clean rag and see where we're at after that. So I'm pretty happy with how this all came out. I do have a steam cleaner that we might break out just to do some touch-up spots like here. But now I think we're pretty much ready for the carpet cleaner. We're gonna spray all this down and really get in there. And then, like I said, pressure wash these and do the standard extraction on the carpets and seats, and this wear right here, and then potentially sealing if we see any spots and don't mess it up too bad with the extractor. So I've been at this a while. There is so much embedded dirt in this carpet, it's insane. Got the Bissell Little Green here, just working on these carpets. Alright, round one on the inside, it's looking pretty good. Still a little bit of wear marks here. I'll have to try to get that out. Looks like I should be able to with something. Yeah, we've got everything, carpet extracted in the back. I didn't touch the back seats or really this because it's like a velour, and the liquid and cleaning agent kind of sucks into it. So there's probably another option we have for that. But the wheel's going to be next. But first, before that, we're just going to do a normal wash, get all this grime off, and make it photo worthy for some listings. Entice some people to spend a little bit of money on this thing once it's all shined up. Initial rinse off. I made the executive decision, I think, to remove this tint. So we're going to need a steam apparatus to get this off. I'll show you that. I'm just going to do a simple wash on this to get the grime off. Filling up the bucket right now with our Meguiar's. What do we got? Deep crystal car wash. That's all right stuff. So it's coming along all right. She's cleaning up pretty well. And, keep in mind, there's just me. I don't have anybody else helping me do this. So it's all comes back to the bottom line. This is going to take me probably 4 hours to do the interior, the exterior clean, the videos, all the pictures, probably more. And if I had to pay somebody to help, your margin gets cut down, and it's a lot of work. It's like, it's tough, but doing it this way, it saves me the extra expenses, and we can offer these cars cheaper. So I guess that's the only benefit, although if I'm only making, a couple $100 on a car, in the end, either way, it's not really worth it. So I don't know. This might be one of the last ones, at least the Aristo, because it doesn't seem like anybody is interested in these things except me. But since I only have two hands, let me get back to this wash, and then we'll move on to the next step, which is the tint on that steering wheel. All right, first round of washing is done. Let's hose off, see what we got. I'm trying to do this like as quickly as possible because time is of the essence here. We got to get this thing pictures taken before it gets dark, and then get them put up there, various marketplaces, and get the marketing going. But look at that. I mean, it's turning out all right. Look at that. It's not bad. Cleans up pretty well. I do like these factory 16-inch sleeper wheels. I haven't seen those before on an Aristo that I brought in. So back to the process. It's a lot of work. It's a pain in the butt. And the only reason I do it is because I love these cars, and I love being able to offer something like this to people in the U.S. for a reasonable price. That's the whole thing. And like I said, if I make a couple $100 profit on the car, it's probably not worth it to a lot of people, but to me, like I said, at least I'm bringing that car here and presenting it in an acceptable fashion and getting it to someone that can appreciate it. If you think you can do better, go ahead. Go hit the auctions in Japan and navigate those waters yourself, and bring something cheaper than I have. Because there's a lot of people out there that are like, oh, I'll give you $7,000 for it. Do you even know how much it costs to import a car from Japan in the process? These people have no respect and no appreciation or knowledge about how much something like this costs, and the time and the effort and the money. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the market just sucks. Maybe people don't want to buy these, but I don't know. I can't be the only person in the country that appreciates these old Aristos. With the 2JZ, I mean, it's got a lot of potential, and like I said in the earlier video, you can take the motor out, put the motor in whatever you want, and then sell the shell, or put something else in the shell, put a GE in there. I don't know. There's a lot of different ways you can go with it. You don't have to have an Aristo with the 2JZ. I mean, the 2JZ motors alone, I remember a couple years ago, those were selling for $7,000-8,000 just for the motor, and I'm asking $9,500, $10,000 somewhere in there for the entire car. I don't know. I guess I'm just venting and complaining because I thought selling cars, especially Japanese cars, would be a lot easier and less stressful than it is. because it just takes a lot of time, and everybody's complaining about something, like, oh, the paint is scuffed, or this or that, or it has an oil leak. It's like, come on, like, it's, what do you expect? You know, or they'll say, oh, it's got a scratch right here. That's gotta be, you know, $1,000 off for that. There's definitely more tire kickers and haters than there are like legitimate people that want to buy a car. So I think that's good for now. I might hit it again in certain spots that are really dirty, but I mean, that's looking pretty good. Pretty good. All right, for tint, you got your little steam machine here. All you got to do is find a corner, and you can see I already started it, but steam it, and then if it doesn't peel off easily on its own, you just keep steaming down and then pull it. If it gets tight, steam, pull. It smells like popcorn a little bit. I don't know why, but it's the window, the glue, the film, whatever. It's like a popcorn smell, and that's about it. Yeah, see how it ripped right there? That means we need more steam. Get this corner. We'll get that piece later. Might have to roll up the window a little bit to get the rest, but that's it. I'm gonna do the other window, then the back. Same thing with the defroster line. Just be careful, use a lot of steam so it doesn't rip the lines off. And oddly enough, if one wasn't good enough, this one had two sheets of once black tint that just faded to purple. So we're getting there. We are getting there. Rear window, same thing. Just take your time with steam. You can steam on top of the tint or on bottom. Either way, I mean, it'll do the same thing, and then you'll just easily, very gently go over the defroster lines. And you shouldn't have any problems with ripping the lines off the glass or anything like that. But take your time and it'll come off. So we got most of the tint off. There's still some glue residue on the inside. I'm hoping the steam gun will take care of that. I don't know, might need some like goof off or some other adhesive remover, because there's a bit of it. This took a good hour probably. This side looks a little bit better, that does not. And we got the back window off, and there's another layer. So I have to take another layer off the back. All right, another 2 hours in. I'm pretty happy with the result here. Got all the tint off, all the adhesive, all the residue. Interior's pretty much done. Now we're at least at like a baseline level of where the car should be. It could probably get washed again, but now we're gonna move on to that steering wheel. In order to get this adhesive off, what I found worked best is just 91% isopropyl alcohol on a paper towel, and that'll get all this sticky residue off the window. So this is a GS wheel, and the only difference is it has this perforated area, and obviously, you know, this has wear too, but on the top at least, much less wear than this. The Aristo wheel looks like it's just non-perforated, so it's all solid leather. And then there's going to be an access point here. We need to pop this out. That'll give us access to a Torx bit. And then on the opposite side, under the panel, you see right there that hole on top. That's going to hold in the airbag. So I'll show you how to do that in a minute. But you can see right here is where your bit will come in. And then it'll hold the airbag right there. And then with those loose, you can wiggle the airbag out and it pops out of there. Just got to watch out for some wiring. This is obviously cut in here, but we'll take care of that. And then I'll show you how to get the wheel off easily. And then it should be a pretty straightforward and quick swap. The only problem I've seen potentially with these is if you're putting in a new wheel or a different wheel, it's possible that the splines will be just slightly off and it will not go on at the exact same angle as the original. So we'll see what happens on this one. All right, for first step, we're gonna need like a little pick tool to get this cover out without damaging it. And I do actually have a spare one just in case. Same thing on this side. Just use a pick if you don't want to damage the plastic. And then you'll see number 2 right there. Here you'll need your T27 Torx bit. T27. 25 is too small. You can use whatever you want to, hold this. But I like to use this drill and then just turn it with my hand and then it'll pop it loose. And then you'll see it won't come out. That's by design, so you don't lose it. So we'll get the other side out. Once that's done, we should be able to pop this center airbag out. Okay, now the airbag is loose and pops on out of here. You may have to unscrew these while pulling to kind of pop it free, but it has these little nubs, and then those just gently go into the steering wheel assembly like that, the column. The battery is unplugged just because when we were loosening this, it would hit the horn. Not a bad idea also because you're dealing with airbag stuff here. It's just one plug on here, and then we'll work on the inner harnesses. So I found another problem. The US spec GS wheel has these female sockets, whereas the Aristo has male sockets. The Aristo harness has female, so that's not going to work. So our only option is to either hopefully use, I don't have it though, I don't have the US harness. We're going to have to either cut and solder the male ends onto the US one or get a harness from a US wheel, which I think I might actually have one. Alright, so I failed. It's just not going to be worth the hassle of swapping everything over to the GS wheel because those wheels aren't in great condition anyways. I don't want to mess with the alignment. I don't want to cut and flip like these plugs. You know, if the wheel I had was in better condition, I would do it, but it's just going to be too much work, too much hassle. So I'm going to have to get just a cover or another Aristo wheel, or, you know, just leave it up to the buyer if they want to put an aftermarket wheel or whatever. It just kind of is what it is. It's the hassle outweighs the gains of, you know, a better looking wheel. So that's it. I'm gonna put this back in and put the airbag back in and call it a day, and then we'll move on to the engine. So the last two mechanical issues with the car, I'm not going to cover in this video, maybe another one. But the first one is the VVTi O-ring is bad, which is pretty common on these. You can change it without taking everything apart. Basically, we need to remove this cover here and then undo these bolts, and then this comes off, and then you replace the O-ring and put everything back together. So timing belt on this was already done somewhat recently. It's original Toyota belt. And the other problem is the AC. So I thought it was low refrigerant, but I think it's a bad compressor. It's way down there. Again, maybe I'll do another video on that. You can use a GS compressor. GS 300 is the same. What's going on is the compressor itself turns on. So the clutch engages, and you know, it still functions, but there's no movement in here. You can look in here. You can't see any refrigerant, and the low and the high side ports are the same, so it's not making the pressure it needs. So got that on the way. We'll change that out, but other than that, not too bad. I mean, kind of basic problems, but that's it. So we'll do a final kind of walk around, and that'll do it. Well, everybody, you've made it this far, so thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, click that bell. It's going to bring more videos. So about 8 hours of labor to get to this point, and that's just cleaning the interior, the exterior, and taking the tint out. These wheels, they're kind of like sleeperish wheels. Like, I really like them. My style. You know, some areas that need a little bit of attention. It's not a show car by any means. You know, it's a car to drive. It's a car to modify. And the paint is solid. You know, there's no damage, no accidents that are noted. And the windows turned out really nice. It looks much better than with that clear glass. This one, the snow version, has rear fog lights stock. So it's not a very common option. You'll see right here, there's a switch for the rear fog lights right there. You press that, and a little light turns on in the dash right there next to the door ajar icon, and you have rear fog lights. So the assumption is, you know, you're driving in a snow country, harsher weather. They give you that option, which is kind of cool. If you put that switch into a non-snow version car, the lights will not turn on. You'll still have the icon on the dash, and the relay will click under the dash, but there's some wiring involved. So, everything's looking presentable here. It's looking decent. Smells decent inside, nice and fresh, and that's kind of where we're at. The 8 hours didn't even include the VVTi O-ring or that AC compressor, but we did get the headlights done. We polished those with some compound, and that's it. That's kind of where we sit. So it's been a process, it's been a process, but we've got everything. The hood struts here actually work. The battery's new as of 2023. It's just a nice stock 2JZ-GTE engine. It's kind of like if you want the engine, you can drive the engine home and then swap it into whatever you want. You don't have to keep the car if you don't want to, but that's pretty much it. If you're interested in the car, the link's in the description. If you have any other questions about JDM cars, let me know. I can help you or do more videos on other stuff. We do have more coming, so there's going to be more videos in the coming weeks of more cars. It's just been super hectic trying to get this one resolved because the transporter brought the wrong one, and that other video we showed all that hassle, and there's a lot of time behind the scenes, like dealing with logistics companies and the ports and Japan and everything else. So, little glimpse. Take care.